Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason. We're in the kitchen today, and we're doing something that's very important to us. Honestly, we're using eggs. And while in the wintertime we don't use a ton of eggs because our chickens have laid less, right, or barely laying at all, now we're hitting spring, and the chickens are killing it, right? Even though we don't have as many young girls as we'd like to have laying eggs, we still get plenty of eggs. We have 16 chickens out there, 13 of which can lay eggs at some point in time, some more than others. But it's very important to us to use these eggs. While you can sell your eggs just fine, it's also very important to us to use them because you kind of get more out of it for us. Us personally seem to get more out of using our product rather than trying to sell it for a few dollars. So that's what we do, and that's what we're going to be doing here in the coming weeks probably, is using our eggs in what we're cooking. So if you have chickens and you have plenty of eggs, these videos are certainly for you. Even if you don't have chickens and you like to be baked with eggs, these videos are still for you because these recipes are going to be absolutely delicious, and Angela Kay is a big brain here in the kitchen. And so I'm going to turn this over to her and let her use that big brain and show you what to do, okay? And this cheesy popover recipe.
Okay, you saw me make popovers before, so this time we're doing cheesy popovers.
It's been 2 years, so a lot of you may not have seen that video. Let's be honest.
So, first things first, you want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. I know that's very high, and you will lower it later. And you want to put your popover pan in the oven when you go to preheat it, because your popover pan, you want it to be screaming hot. Now, when I pull it out, I'll show you what a popover pan looks like. You can also use a muffin tin, but they're going to be kind of short and squat. Yep. They're not going to be as good. So in this bowl, apparently the oven's preheated.
It's got a foul mouth.
Apparently the oven's preheated. So in this bowl, we have 3 large eggs. And that is a Bella egg, a Tilly egg, and a Naomi egg. And you want to beat them up really good.
The chickens or the eggs?
Not the chickens. You don't beat up chickens.
Don't beat up my chickens.
You don't beat up chickens. Now you can use a whisk, or you can use one of these half moon whisk. These are amazing, and they do best on this. You can also do this in a blender, but I have found they puff much better if you do it by hand. Now to this, we are going to add 1.5 cups of whole milk. Now you're going to get better results with whole milk than with 2%.
Absolutely.
But if that's all you have, you can use 2%, but you're going to get much better results with whole milk. And you want to mix that together really well. Whisk it together really well. And now we are going to add 1 tablespoon of salted butter that we have melted.
Did you let it cool in?
You let it cool just a little bit.
Okay.
Till about room temperature, basically.
Okay.
And you want to whisk this really well until you get really frothy on top. So you get really foamy. You see, you want to whisk it really rapidly for about a minute. Okay, as you can see, it's nice and foamy right now. So to this, we are going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour and 1 teaspoon of salt.
So that was the half cup right there, right?
Yes.
That was the half cup and the salt. Gotcha.
Now, you will do the same thing. You will whisk it really good again.
But be careful because you're slinging flour everywhere.
Yes. But at this point, you want to whisk it very rapidly, because that flour will make you lose a lot of the air that you incorporated.
Right.
So you want to whisk it. That's a hard sentence to say. Really rapidly to get as much air back in there as possible. Air is your friend with popovers.
Yeah, it is.
Air is definitely your friend. So we are nearly there. If you're doing it by hand, you may see some lumps still in there. That's fine. If you're doing it in a blender, there's going to be no lumps, of course. But like I said, I've always had better rise if I do it by hand.
But you don't want a bunch of lumps, right? You want
no, just a few. You also don't want tough popovers, so you don't want to beat it too much.
Gotcha.
Because then you get tough popovers because your gluten starts to develop. Now I'm going to go get the popover pan out of the oven. Okay, this is a popover pan. And I've put it on just a regular cookie sheet that I've lined, because they may let out no.
Thank you.
They may let out a little bit of oil
That's a popover.
into the bottom of your oven, and that way you don't have to deal with that problem.
Popover might pop over the edge, is what she's saying.
Yes.
See?
Now you want to put just a tiny dribble of oil in each cup.
What about moonshine?
No moonshine, just a little bit of oil.
Okay.
You can also use cooking spray, but I've discovered that cooking spray has a tendency to burn really quickly. So I prefer to do oil and just brush it up the sides a little bit. Now this is already a non-stick surface. I will put a link to a popover pan and one of those magical whisk.
And obviously this recipe makes 6 because that's
Yes.
what we have here. If you want to make 12, if you have more people in your household than we do, then
Double the recipe.
double the recipe. And you can find a popover pan for 12, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You can see you still got a lot of bubbles there, but you want to give it a good whisk again, just to make sure that you keep those bubbles in there. You want to make sure you keep all those bubbles in there. Like I said, air's your friend. So now I'm going to take my 1 cup measure to help me dip this out instead of trying to pour it from the bowl. And I'm going to pour this about 3/4 the way full. Each little cup, you want to pour it about 3/4 the way full. We'll come back and add a little bit more if we need to. Okay, you can see that we filled them up really nicely. Now we have about 3/4 of a cup of sharp cheddar cheese that we have grated.
That wound up being more than 3/4 full,
Yes.
by the way. It's okay.
And I grated this myself. You're going to get a much better melt if you grate it yourself. So I'm just evenly dividing it, as even as I possibly can, between your 6 popovers.
So how much was that again? I interrupted.
It's about 3/4 of a cup. A little extra cheese never hurt nobody. So.
Nah. But basically, how much cheese you want to put on it?
Unless you're lactose intolerant, I'm assuming.
But however much cheese you want to put on it, right? You can put less if you want to or whatever.
Yes.
I'm not sure why you want to, but if you just happen to want to, whatever.
Now, we are going to pop these in. This is very specific instructions. We are going to pop these into the 450 degree preheated oven for 20 minutes. Then we are going to lower it from 450 to 350. And we will leave it in there for 20 more minutes. That's 40 minutes total, 20 on 450, 20 on 350. Do not open the oven door, especially for the first 20 minutes. Because that is when your puff is setting, is at the high temperature. It will deflate if air hits it. You do not want them to deflate, so make sure that you do not open that oven door. Okay, you want your oven rack in the middle position.
Because they'll get tall.
Because they get tall, you may want to take, like when I put my oven rack in the middle position, I take out my top rack.
Yep.
Because otherwise they are going to rise up and maybe touch the top rack, and you don't want that. So you want it in the middle position.
Watching these bake was making my mouth drool so much. I was just, look at them.
As you can see, they're beautiful. Now, if you've seen other popovers, cheesy ones are not going to puff as high.
Right. It's
because the cheese weights them down.
The video you did a couple years ago with regular popovers,
Yes.
they're much higher, but
Yes.
the cheese is heavier.
Yes, the cheese will weight them down. That it will also make them want to stick to the side of the pan, even though you did grease it really well. You want to get these out pretty much immediately. So you may want to run a knife around them to pop them out easier. Now, when you pull one out, you want to stick a knife in it and kind of twist it a little to let out some of that steam.
Keep your fingers out of the way.
You want to let out some of that steam
Yeah.
so that they will actually stay puffed better.
Right.
And that they won't lose their crispiness.
Gotcha.
But you want to get these out of the pan immediately. You don't want them to lose their puff in the pan, because if they do, they're going to be harder to get out of the pan.
Because you get losing your handle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at this beautiful popover. I'm so excited. That's so good. Inside, look at that. That's just a thing of beauty. Work of art. Nope. Work of Angela. That's what it is. So good. So tasty. These are not going to make it very long. I will eat some tonight. I'll take some to work tomorrow. And they're really stinking
stinking good cold, honestly. Then or at least to room temperature or not. To cool, they're awesome. Make them. It's worth the effort. 3 eggs for 6, 6 eggs for 12. I mean, really good use of your eggs, and you're getting a high-end quality product just out of your eggs. Turning your eggs into a high-end quality food product for your family to eat, rather than a few dollars. Much easier for us, and it's stinking delicious. So thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason, the smart one. Her name's Angela Kay. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love you guys. God bless you and goodbye.